Today we are talking about doing bigger deals. This is a question I get sometimes of Clint, is it right for me to do big deals, right? Is it right for me to do big deals right now? And the answer to that every time is yes, all right? Because there's always a strategy, there's always a partnership, there's always a way that you can tackle a deal, take a deal down. There's always a way you can do that, whether you have money or not, and still engage in big deals, right? Almost everybody I know that is successful in real estate starts in an area where they are the ones providing value to other people. So let me rephrase that, not rephrase it, let me say it again, very, very important. Most people, right, they begin their real estate career with not a lot of money, but rather the hustle, the work ethic to decide, right? I can go add value to somebody, whether it's finding them a deal or making a big return on their money. You're normally hustling to start. I think that's so important because everybody like, there's this phrase I heard a few like a month ago. I just have been saying it over and over. It's that, what I have it here, half a watermelon is much bigger than a grape, right? And people oftentimes from the start want to figure out how do I just like, for lack of better words, like how do I put myself in a position where I can do bigger deals? And oftentimes it's how can I put myself in a position? The first question you should ask is how can I put myself in a position to where I can create the opportunities to do bigger deals? Because if all you're thinking about is how am I going to get the money and the people and the strategy and the contracts and you're going to not do it. Because I've done that and it took me years to get out of that. And then I did my first deal where I made 100 grand and I'm like, that was easier than the other ones, right? So you've got to understand that when you're starting, you're often in a position, unless you've got a bunch of money, this is different. But if not, you're in a position of where you're adding value. So whether you're bringing a deal to somebody like me, who is like, yeah, I can get this taken down, like, let's do it. And maybe you take half of the deal or you lose half the deal. But you learn a shiz ton along the way. And instead of just playing with little deals you can afford that are $1 or $2 or $3,000, now you're going to get half of a deal where you can make $25, $50, $100,000. So you've got to get out of the mindset that I want to know or that I'm going to be the main person in this whole deal. And when you're doing these first few deals or that are bigger and out of your comfort zone, that you just sit back and acknowledge, and you may say this, yeah, Clint, I know, I'm going to need some help, whatever, to do that. No. It's like, understand that that is the answer. Like, there will be other partners, other people in play to do your first big deals. So stop acknowledging it and find those people, whether it's the money partner or the skill partner or whatever it is, the finding the deal partner, right? You will, for a while, have other people in play for deals that make you a lot of money. Now, this isn't holistic, right? But often the times the people I'm talking to in my audience are people who are scaling their business, they're hitting a wall, and they're like, how do I do this? Well, the answer is you do bigger deals, and you stop trying to think you can do them yourself, okay? Skill partners will help you very much at the beginning of this. And looking at it as, A, I'm going to make money, and B, I'm going to learn the skill set, okay? Down that line, another thought that I always have is personal, and I'm changing my thought on this a bit, but personal opinion is I generally like to issue contracts that I'm going to close on, that I'm planning to close on. And so, and again, I will admit my opinion on this has shifted some in some of the bigger deals we've done, but in general, if I want to engage in a property, like whether I can sell it in 1 month or 6 months, I still want to make however much money I'm going to make on it, right? I've worked really hard to create this opportunity, to put it into my pipeline. I want to take it down. Like in my business, there's not really a no, we can't do that to any kind of property. We do probates, right? We will connect people with attorneys to do probates. We will clear judgments and liens. We will work, we will do anything it takes to get a property to close, all right? And I just think it's so important to kind of have that in your mindset of like, you can just go, like, you don't have to have the money in your bank account is what I'm getting at here. Because just by being on this live right now or watching this live on the replay or watching this on YouTube later, you are already in the place where you have the money and the resources. Look, I'll tell you straight up, if anybody sends me a message, says, Clint, I got this big deal I'm working on, right? I'm honestly a little out of my comfort zone. I need some help. I need a partner. I need funding, whatever. I typically will drop everything I'm doing and give you a call if you're serious, right? Because finding deals is so, so important. And I know that I can work with people and use my skill set and my network and my money to get deals done. But that illustrates the point that whether you message me or you message one of the 30 people, 40, 50 people that are watching this live right now, any of the 1,000 people in this group, any of the people in our mastermind group, literally, like, there's never no money. And oftentimes you say, I know people will fund it. But in the back of your mind, you're like, I don't know who those people are, right? I know there's money out there. I just don't know who they are. And we just wrapped up a few minutes ago one of our monthly mastermind calls. And I was talking to somebody about raising money. And summary was like, it's not fun. That's not the most fun thing. It's like sales and marketing and general stuff. Because you got to put together presentations and talk to a lot of people, tell them all the things, right? But it's a necessary step that you got to take. So, right, and less of like thinking about, oh, I know there's money out there, and more about like being about that and doing it. Because I'm going to go into something in a second. I'm going to tell you a couple pieces of data, just very simple to look at, that will just get you in the ballpark of bigger deals. You don't need the money, right? If you really want to do it, you got to be marketing to the right properties, and you got to be connecting with the people that can help you take these deals down. Because if you want to do it all yourself at first, you're just going to go a lot slower. Personal experience, not opinion. I spent 2 years doing smaller deals because I had a lot of these things that kind of were stopping me from going. And really, once I found the right people to help me, I found the right partnerships and the right community and the right skill set and all the things, I realized it's just as easy as doing what I've been doing. But there are some hurdles in the way. So, half a watermelon is much bigger than a whole grape. You gotta have the right people and you gotta have the right money in place. But the fact that you're here means you can do that. Okay, it's not hard. It's talking to the right people, getting on Zoom calls, telling people about what you do. And what I started this thing on is creating value. If you go to somebody that has skill or money or desire or whatever to do land and you say, here's a great opportunity, let's do it together. You play this role, I play this role. That is how you get deals going. Number one, I'm ranting. All right. All right. Okay, look. Part two here. Jerry, so nice, my friend. Knows what I'm talking about. Jerry, I love you. Camila makes sense. Good. Patricia, I'll come back and answer that question at the end. That's a long one. Okay. Next thing I have, and I hope this really like hits home and helps some people with this thing. If you have not sat down and said, my marketing budget is blank for this year, and stuck to it and executed on it, that's going to be a big mindset business strategy shift you're going to need to make. Because for me, tell me if I'm wrong here, when you don't look at things in the holistic view of I'm spending $10, $20, $30,000 a year on marketing, what you end up doing is you microanalyze. So I'll just tell you straight, you'll go crazy if you microanalyze your response rates on bigger deals. You'll go nuts because you'll be checking it all the time. You'll be sending out hundreds and hundreds and thousands of, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds or thousands of pieces of mail. Like, man, I've sent 5,000 pieces of mail, like Clint said, and I just haven't got that deal, that big 100K deal or 50K deal or 200 or whatever it is, right? If you look at it in that perspective of I've done this much and I haven't got there, that to me comes from a place of like, I can't think of the right word right now, but it's like lack. It's like you don't believe in the abundance side of it, right? Whatever the word for that is, abundance mindset. And you can solve that by creating a budget for yourself. I don't look at my budget month to month. I don't look at my marketing results month to month. I would go crazy because we send a lot of mail, and some months we have incredible months, some months we have bad months. I look at it over the course of a quarter, typically over 6 months, because that's the cycle of deals generally, is 6 months, I think. 3 to 6 months. From conception to profit in your pocket. I think it's very important. Okay? I think that it is so important that you have a marketing budget. Because it allows you to say, all right, this year, like last year I made $100,000, or last year I made $50,000. Ask yourself, what did I spend to make that? Oftentimes you'll be able to calculate almost exactly how much data you pulled, what your marketing expenses were for that, and that's going to tell you, hey, I spent $7,000 to make this much. And I tell people all the time, if you think you're just going to invest that same amount of $7,000, but you want 3 or 4 or 5x results, it's not going to happen. That's got to scale. So if you did 7K last year and you made 100K or 50K or whatever, you got to think proportionally. Really, it is proportional because it's per letter or per phone call or per text message or whatever you're doing. So you got to think, okay, I did that last year. My marketing budget is $20,000. How am I going to do that this year? Well, that gives me about 40,000 letters. I'll really give you about 30,000 and all the data, and maybe some stuff to experiment around with other things, right? My marketing budget is really, really high because we do a bunch of deals, but to give you a perspective, it's a six-figure year budget. But again, I don't look at it month to month on, wow, we sent 16,000 letters last month and we only closed 6 deals. Like, rah, rah, that's no good. Because then I would go crazy. I just focus on top line. How can I drive more things in and create more results? And I know it's a lagging, like, it's people we're dealing with here, folks. Like, you never know when you're going to get a response. But generally, if you have that budget and you see those KPIs, you can almost always reverse engineer what your results are going to be within a ballpark. So where I'm going with this is if you don't have a marketing budget, you're going to get too stressed out and you're not going to see it to the end. Because what if your marketing budget was 20 grand? You have over 40,000 pieces of mail you can send, right? I'll tell you, if you send 40,000 pieces of mail and you target the right people, there's no way you're not going to get a deal that's going to generate 50 to 100 grand. All right? And that is just crazy bad luck as you only do one. So worst case scenario, you got this budget of 25,000 and you spent it and you generated one deal and it makes you 40. Well, that sucks. Wasn't the best, that wasn't the best, but it still was a return on the investment. Now, what I'll tell you is if you have that $25,000 marketing budget and you're focusing on the right people, getting in front of the right people, that is, you'll do a lot better than that. But just to give you that context, like you got to have the full span of it because sometimes it comes at the end, sometimes it comes at the beginning, sometimes it's right in the middle. You never know. You've got to have the budget that turns into the result, the marketing efforts that turns into the deals. Okay, got to have a marketing budget. If you don't have it, biggest takeaways today is get out of here, go figure out what your marketing budget is. All right. Dan says partners are great. Tag team issues are divide and focus. Divide and conquer, baby. My partner's really good at legal stuff. Really good at that side. Really good at operations. I suck at that, all right? We make a good team. All right. Last thing, data. All right? Let's land this plane. I won't ramble for too long today. What do you need to look at to find bigger deals? Y'all, like, I'm almost scared to say this before we get to our webinar because people are going to be like, oh, that's very simple. But you just got to be looking at deals that have enough room in them to make that much money, right? First things first, that I see, and remember this comes from working with a few hundred folks that have been in this space and doing it myself. The first big issue is if I say, okay, kind of show me how you put together a mailer. You would just zoom in on properties that are worth 20, 30, 40 grand. Well, how do you make 100 grand or 75 or 200 if the property's worth 40? You can't. You've got to just start looking at the bigger deals, okay? And it's the same process. You work backwards. You find where those properties are now, and you go target the areas, okay? You got to look at the overall sales price. I'm trying to think I have something else to offer you there. I mean, I got a couple other things here. Price per acre trends. You got to be looking at those, kind of seeing as you move up in acreage or in cost. And again, this is hard to say with price per acreage because like I have a friend who just did a deal where he bought it for 60,000 and sold it for 140,000, I think, or something like that. And it was a 3/4 of an acre lot in a really hot market. So like price per acre breaks down a bit there. I do a lot of stuff 30, 60, 90, 120, 150 minutes outside the city. And typically in that range, oftentimes with some of these bigger deals, I like to see bands of price per acre in the few $1,000 range. There's no exact number here because if you're in Alabama or Georgia versus Arizona or Utah or Oklahoma, it just changes so rapidly. But generally you find price per acre trends that are in like the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 range, somewhere in there. It's a good shooting, it's a good ballpark, but sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. I think it goes back to, regardless of what the price per acre is, right? If it's $5,000 an acre, well, how can you make how can you make much money on it if it's only 5 acres? You can't. You can't start adding these deals that have that net in them. And so you got to start looking at higher sales price. And really, guys, I look at sales trends. Sales are the holy grail of data to me in the land space. So I go find where properties that are worth one, two, three, four, $500,000 are selling, and I target them. The conversations aren't that much different. You're talking with a little bit more sophisticated person, so you definitely want to know what strategies to employ, which I guess we'll talk about on a different live. You definitely got to know what strategy you're going to come in on, and just a fun little tidbit. Whenever I'm training my team to talk on the phone to sellers, I found that oftentimes when they're making offers in the 75, 100, $150,000, anything above 75K, they're not as confident. I'll tell you why. Hold on. They're not as confident because most of the people who work with me have never really truly sent a wire transfer for $50, $100, $200,000. That's something I kind of learned off the top just from doing it. And so then I kind of had to train them on how to do that, how to sound more confident. But that bleeds down to you as well. They've never done it. Maybe you haven't done it, right? You got to be confident when you're talking to people, right? And I think that comes from kind of what we talked about a minute ago of like having the right people in your ecosystem to where you're confident that no matter what, if I need money, skill, expertise, experience, someone's going to be there to help me, right? That gives you confidence. I think having or knowing the funding situation is always going to give you a lot of confidence, but that can play into what strategy you choose. Whether you're whether you're seller financing with the seller that sells it to you, financing it to you. I know people that do that. I know people who do option and wholesale agreements. I'm simple. I like to just have the money and buy the property. Again, if it's going to make me 90 grand, if it takes 6 months, I don't care. If it takes 1 month, that's great. But like 1 month, 6 months, 12 months, whatever. If I make the money, make the money. You got to be looking for the sales. You got to be looking where the properties exist. That's the start. And then past that, when you surround yourself and you have the strategies, you have the team, you have the money, you have all the stuff that gives you the confidence, you got to go in and be confident in what you're talking about. And this kind of boils down to the overarching theme of it's not that much different, right? It's not that much different. There's really no new check boxes. Like when you start getting up into some of the bigger properties, stuff where you can make more money, there's different exit strategies, right? So maybe instead of just flipping it, you want to do a minor land split on it and like really increase the value through it. Or you want to play around and see if it's a developable property and somebody would want to buy it for that reason. I even know people that put like ADUs or little hunting camps on properties and like, God, I wish I knew more about hunting. Like they're making bank doing it, right? When you get into the larger deals, there's generally more exits, but we're always looking at that worst case exit, which is we buy it and we sell it, right? And that's what we all look at every day when we're doing this business. It's the same conversation. It takes more calls and more letters and more people, but they're there. And zooming back out, if you're not looking at the right properties, okay? And if you don't have a consistent marketing budget that you know, hell or high water, if I have a bad 3 months, I'm still sending the next 9 months of mail. If you don't have that, and you don't have the network and the tools and the people to take those deals down, that's where people fail. From my experience, that's where people fail. So those are my mindset shifts, my friends. You got the team. If you're watching this, whether you're in my mastermind, not in my mastermind, in my Facebook group, watching on YouTube, watching on Instagram, I don't care. If you're seeing this, then I'm probably somebody that could help you with a big land deal. In fact, if you're seeing this and you have a big land deal, feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk to you about it. You have the network. You just got to go put the pieces together. That generates confidence, okay? When you have the confidence, then you're going to be confident looking and spending money and mailing big deals. And then again, you got the people around you, you know the strategy, you'll be able to take them down. So, got to have confidence, got to have a good marketing budget, you got to be looking at the right properties. And with that, my friends, I think that you will be able to do some bigger deals, all right? That's the start of it. Hey, we're going to be keeping on this train for the next few weeks. We'll be doing a few Facebook Lives, so make sure to be tuning in. Mark your calendars for our webinar. I think we're changing the date. It's going to be the first week of May, whatever the first Thursday of May is. That is the date. So mark your calendars. It's going to be jam-packed. I'm making the presentation now, putting all the deals together, all the specifics. So it's going to be fun. Free webinar, no replay. Sign up. Make sure you come live. Again, no replay because it's a very valuable webinar that I'm doing for free. So show up, come hang out. I think you're going to like it. If you're interested in our mastermind, get on the wait list. That will open up first week of May as well. My desk just moved on me. Okay, that's what I got, friends. There was one question in here I wanted to answer. Let me do that real quick. And if you got any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I will answer them. Okay. Question, are you using any new tools right now, Clint? Me and Tom, we learned a lot from you last time being a part of your mastermind. So honestly, this time it's going to be kind of the same thing, or you know. Patricia, what I'm guessing is that you went through one of my marketing masterminds, and that's where we ran the whole sales funnel. So, yeah, definitely new. I mean, yes, new tools. We talk about new tools, but it's not the same. It's new content. What you went through before was a master class. Maybe is the right word for it. It was a workshop. So that was short term. There's a beginning and there's a beginning state and an end goal. When you're in a mastermind, it's more of like, hey, every month, every week, I'm surrounded by the right people. Yes, I create new content. I mean, I just finished up a couple mailing modules that, in my opinion, are the most in-depth mailing modules that anybody's ever done. In this space, at least, I just show you XYZ exactly how I find deals. And as that changes, I update it. So, courses are great. Coaching is great, whatever. A lot of times people just need to be in the right room to get motivated. And so we do, writing a check for 20K is nerve-wracking, but sell it for 60 makes it worth it. Yes, Joe. When you're in the room with the right people, oftentimes you do the right things. And so, yes, we create content. Yes, we do workshops on different technology. Yes, we do all that stuff, but that's not the point. I'm not making courses anymore. I don't do courses. Like, a course gets you some result. I'm in this thing for the long run. And if you're in for the long run, you get yourself around the right people. And that's what we're doing here. So, hope that answers your question. But as far as new tools, yeah. Data tree, MapRight, My Maps, talking marketing stuff. So, definitely. Dan, partner's great. Joe, writing a 20K check is nerve-wracking. But when you sell it for 60, it's all worth it. You are right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining today. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, all the things. And we will see you guys on the next one. Have a great week. Bye.